Would it be fair to assume that the message is going through, don't crack down on the demonstrations?
Absolutely.
Don't do it. There's too much at risk if you do so?
We've consistently said that demonstrators need to be able to protest peacefully, and that this is a pivotal time for Egypt, that it's a crucial time, that everybody needs to act as if it is a crucial time and act accordingly and not take steps that would take Egypt towards more political polarization or worse, violence, but back in the other direction towards a democratically elected government.
What happens if they don't listen to the U.S. government?
Well, again, I'm not going to predict what that would mean, but our point isn't that they should listen to the U.S. government because it's in our interests. It's because it's in the people of Egypt's interests that they represent, that they are tasked with leading, that the new government will be tasked with leading, and so it's in the best interest of their own people. Not in the U. And it's not for us to decide what the process looks like or who's part of that. Excuse me. It's in the interest of the Egyptian people to get back towards that process.
Can I just in the answer to the very first question on Egypt about former President Morsi, you said you continue to call for the end to all politically related detentions. I just want to check to make sure that you believe that his detention is politically motivated.
Yes.
And then when you say that your message, or when you try to be clear about your message going to the Egyptians, and that you mentioned the misinformation and disinformation, are you concerned at all that the message that you're not taking sides has been compromised by the fact that you essentially did take a side by not calling what happened a coup?
Well, I would disagree with that assessment, Matt. We made a determination. Let me finish. We made a determination that we did not have to make a determination one way or the other. That we weren't going to either A, call it a coup, or B, say that it wasn't. So there were three options that could happen here. The other two options, which we didn't take, I think many of us would argue, would have been seen as taking one side or the other.
Up until that day that you did that, there had never been a third option. There were only the two options. So you basically invented the third option. But do you concede? Can you understand why your message is not getting through, or why there is some confusion over the message because of that?
Well, I don't want to.
Or do you think that the Egyptian public should be fully informed of the nuance of all of your decisions? Because for most people, it's either it is a black and white thing, and when you choose a third gray path,
a third option that deliberately was meant not to make it appear as if we weren't taking one side or the other. Because let's take a step back. If hypothetically we had just made a determination the other way and said officially we're not calling this a coup, which was option B, then the other side would have thought we were taking sides. So all we can do.
So there should be proof then. That's your decision, your policy should be proof to the confused Egyptian people that
I think
you're
this
not
is certainly
sides.
one data. Yes, I think this is certainly one data point. I think the other data points include public comments at many levels of this government, including from this podium, repeatedly that we are not taking sides, that we will meet and work with all parties going forward. Yes. Yes.
Other subject.
Oh. One more.
Sorry, I thought she was going to come on. The fact that we haven't seen any sign of a resolution of Deputy Secretary Burns going back, or the EU or anyone else, that that leaves you with the impression that these talks that the mediation and the talks have failed, and that this is just a period of waiting now.
Well, I wouldn't want to use that term. I think everybody's been clear that this is a very difficult process. And we have been clear that the time for dialogue has not passed. We want to make that crystal clear, that this is an ongoing process, that the time for dialogue is still open, and that these are very complicated issues. There's a lot of political polarization. We're all very well aware of that. And that's why we want to continue to play a facilitating role and to help bring all the parties together. But again, I would stress that the time for dialogue has in no way ended just because Deputy Secretary Burns returned to Washington last week. In fact, it's actually the opposite.
What are they waiting for?
What is who waiting for?
The mediators. I mean, obviously there's some steps that they're waiting for to be taken, or they're waiting for the Egyptians to make a decision on which way they want to go. What exactly?
Well, I think we made this clear last week that we're encouraging certain confidence-building measures, and we outlined some of them last week, but I'm happy to go over them again. Okay. Well, some of them, just for folks who weren't here, include things like public statements condemning violence, commitment to meaningful negotiations. There's a number of confidence-building measures that we're working on all sides to agree to. But again, this is a very complex, difficult situation. Nobody thinks this would be easy. But our goal remains the same, and we're going to keep continuing to work with all parties to help achieve that.
Thank you.